Hey Culture Family, I'm K.A. Will.
And I'm Gabby.
And welcome to another episode of Marriage Journey, where we talk about our unique marriage, talking about our experience, talking about the things that we go through, and how we want to create our own culture in our household. And we hope that this kind of inspires you to create your own culture in your household. And what we mean by that is not all marriages are alike.
No, not at all, but we all have some parallels, so hopefully with doing these videos, we help anyone who needs help at all or just to hear a different perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, and so this episode, we're going to jump right into it. We kind of took a pause because our last episode, we let you guys know that we were looking for a house and moving and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But we're back. This episode, we're going to talk about moving in together. So kind of like the beginning of our story, almost, so to speak,
Yeah.
as a married couple. So let's get into, you were about to start med school, but we got married before Gabby started med school. And that came with some challenges, even in decision making, I think, for the school, right?
Right, because for sure I wanted to go somewhere outside of. So I went to UGA, so I was in Athens. So I wanted to get away from Athens. They were creating a new campus there, but I was like, well, I've already experienced 4 years there. Let me go somewhere else. So I was gung-ho to go to Augusta. And then so-and-so said, I ain't moving to Augusta. Just kidding. That's not how it went, but kind of like the sentiment was that, you would have to uproot everything that you felt like was home and you had tethered back home to move to Augusta, where find a new job, find a new family, or community. So at the very last minute, I was like, hey, can you put my name on to go for the Athens campus? And thankfully I wasn't on the waiting list, or maybe I was. I don't remember, but something about a waiting list. Maybe I was, maybe I wasn't, but end up moving to Athens. So being near Kareem and being near family definitely shaped my put me in the direction of going to Athens instead of Augusta.
Yeah.
Which is 2.5 hours away.
Right. So we can talk a little bit more about that. So, yeah, it was for me, definitely, I didn't want to be away from family and everything that I knew. So that was a big thing for me. But also, I realized that we had to come to some sort of compromise because I wanted to support Gabby in her dreams and her goals to become a doctor. So it was like, how do we come to that compromise? So even before talking about Athens, I think Athens was the compromise. Because
Right.
we still I still had to move.
Right.
And Athens, yes, it was closer, but it was still an hour and a half away from our families. So we ended up moving to Athens, and
Let's go back.
yeah.
So some people thought we were crazy for even getting married right before med school. One, you shouldn't get married before med school, right?
Yeah.
Was the thought, but also the fact that we only lived together for like 4 months before me having to go to med school. So I enjoyed the time. Like, we got to spend together and grow as newlyweds, but it definitely is hard.
Yeah. So a little bit more, since you went back a little bit, I'm just thinking about the beginning, right before us being married.
Mm-hmm.
So I proposed on Gabby's birthday.
Right.
And it was a 6-week engagement.
That's why I'm shaking my head.
And people thought we were crazy. Then there were rumors of pregnancy, all kinds of. I mean, people are funny.
Shotgun wedding.
Yeah. People are funny. That was crazy to us too because we had withheld ourselves as far as sex is concerned before marriage. So we didn't even have sex before marriage. So there was no way for her to be pregnant. So that's why I say people are funny.
Have you met Mary? I'm just kidding.
In my head, I was like, what Mary are you talking about? But
Just
anyway.
kidding.
So we had that whole thing. And we had to plan the wedding, send out invitations, which we made the invitations ourselves. Those things are legit. I still have a copy. I was proud of us, like us making those invitations. They look.
Listen, let's even go back.
They look I'm telling you, the more I think about it, it makes me want to go back more.
Both
to talk
of us
about
were working. Not the job that made the jobs that made the most money.
Oh yeah.
So, and the fact that we were getting married in 6 weeks, we had to be creative,
Yeah.
to say the least. So,
Yeah,
like making
yeah.
our own invitation,
Yeah.
it was a whole thing. But thankfully, people at church were very supportive and
Oh,
helped
yeah,
with
they were.
decorations. One of them used to be a wedding planner,
Mhm.
so it was definitely very creative, especially having to plan in 6 weeks. But it was.
It was an
I
adventurous
I
time.
would rather that than try to do something
Really.
more prolonged.
Yeah, and that was the other thing. I was a person that I don't believe in long engagements. To me, somebody has to explain that to me. There's no point to that. I'm thinking 6 to 9 months is enough. Like this year, 2-year engagement, 3-year, like what is that? I really don't understand what
People
that
trying
is.
to save money for a big wedding, but I don't think I ever pictured what my wedding was going to be like or had, it has to have this, so
Yeah.
it was fine. I'm pretty sure our parents probably weren't happy because they wanted to, maybe they expected to do more and...
Yeah, I think even some church members were upset with us because they was like, well, you're not giving this time to... I'm like, I thought it was...
Oh, you know why? Because our wedding was on a Monday. That was the other reason
Oh,
why we
yes.
were mad.
And purposefully because
it was cheaper.
it was cheaper.
It was
Yeah.
less expensive.
So booking a wedding, reserving a wedding space on the weekends is always more expensive than ones during the week. So we booked ours for Monday to help save money. Yeah, it was adventurous. For some reason, usually stuff like that kind of bothers me as far as like last minute stuff, but that didn't bother me at all. Like we
Because you were
had
going to
our
have me at the end.
That's right. So we had our family, like Gabby said, that was very supportive. Church members were supportive. Our friends, of course. So it was an adventurous time. It really was. So anyway, say all that to say, we still ended up our compromise. Well, my compromise was okay. Athens is a little closer. I'll move to Athens. We got married. And we were living together, but we weren't. Not really. And what I mean by that is, after we got married, there was a period where Gabby was driving to Athens on a Monday and coming back on Fridays. So we were only seeing each other on the weekend.
Right.
And we did that for like 8 months, 9 months.
Yep.
So this is funny, but it's not funny. Around month 3, I realized that every Wednesday I would get kind of sad. Like, I would be down. I wouldn't feel like doing anything. My appetite was gone. And I'm like, this is weird. Because I started noticing that it would happen every Wednesday.
Right.
So that's when I put it together that, after you get married, and it's funny, we talked about this before we got married, that we didn't want to be apart, but it ended up happening anyway. But I realized that after you get married, like your spirit, your body, your mind, you are not supposed to be away from your spouse. Because that's what was making me sad. Like, I literally would get down.
Sick to your stomach.
I literally would get down every Wednesday. And I realized it was because I was missing Gabby. So that was hard. That part of it was definitely hard. But the other part of moving in together, I remember that the only furniture we had was kitchen stuff and bedroom stuff and I guess the bathroom if that counts.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't have any furniture in the living room, and you know, people. I want to say that our parents wanted to come over, but like for the first 6 months, we really didn't invite anyone over. And it was and it wasn't really because we didn't have any furniture. Yeah, that was one reason, but the other reason was I wanted us to bond. I didn't want people and family and all that to be, what's the word I'm looking for? To distract us or to hinder the bond that we were supposed to get early on.
Okay.
And I could tell that some people weren't happy with that, including Gabby. After I think a couple of months, she was like, yeah, you know, she feels bad about not inviting family over. And I'm just like, it's not that I don't want them over. I just want us to get that bond first. You know, as husband and wife, get used to living together before we start inviting people into our mix.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so that was just my thing. And that took time. Can you think of some challenges that came with us moving in together?
Oh Lord, the glow up now, like seeing our life now compared to before.
Because we had never lived together either before marriage as well.
Oh, it was like you said, an adventure. Like we used to eat dinner on our boxes. Like,
the wedding boxes. So the
Wedding
gifts,
gift boxes.
yeah.
Oh.
So the wedding gift boxes that people pack boxes, put gifts in them for us. We kept some of them, and that was our table, in front of the TV, making dinner together, making lunch together. That's where we sat down and ate and watched our favorite shows.
Not even a couch, guys.
Yeah, there was no couch.
And when I came to Athens, I had to find a place that was furnished because we didn't really have anything.
I remember.
Oh, and he said driving, so I was taking Megabus and Greyhound every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Only I don't think we ever missed a weekend unless he was coming to Athens. But because he wanted to still work here, and not have to deal with like finding a job in Athens like early on. So reminiscing over those times. So they were interesting. So with Kareem, the effect that us being apart had on him was different from me. I was so busy, and this was my dream to go to school, med school. So I'm eating everything up, enjoying being in Athens, meeting people, doing work, all that stuff. So I didn't feel different, except for one thing. Every Friday when I came home, I had to kind of start over because I think in Athens I was living single life, and
Mercy.
then which I hope you don't think I was out there, but single life, doing things on my own direction. No one had to tell me anything. And then coming home and having to worry about you, not worry, but like be aware of you, aware that we are a couple, that we are living together. And again, we didn't do it before. So to me, every Friday I was starting over, which was hard.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and man, it was crazy because Gabby's schedule, I mean, like she mentioned, for med school and then moving in together for the first time, living, having a long distance relationship, sort of. It was just a lot going on with us at the very beginning of our marriage. And now that I think about it, God has been good because that really might not have been the best foundation for newlyweds.
Right.
But again, we dated for 3 years before we got married. So it was like, I guess that was our core, or that was our strong bond that kept us during the first year or the first 9 months of the hard part of our marriage, like as far as the challenges.
Yeah, so I understand why people were the way they are as far as giving advice, saying, oh, this is hard, why would you do it this way? But like we always say, we wouldn't do it with anyone else. And it was fine. It was an adventure, something to help us grow stronger. So, people do things differently, not in this cookie cutter way. cookie cutter way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. But it was definitely challenging times.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, after 9 months, because we were paying rent at two apartments, because we were moved in together. It was new to us. She had a place in Athens, and I didn't want to break the lease here because when I say here, where we're from, I didn't want to break the lease in Stockbridge because I didn't want it to affect our credit. You know, I didn't want us to have bad rental history. So I said, hey, we're gonna just wait till the lease is done. So anyway, after the 9 months, then it was time for me to move with Gabby. We took all our stuff out of Stockbridge and moved everything to Athens. And that too came with challenges. For me, because I don't like moving, that was another thing. And it wasn't until I got married, and I told her this after we moved the second time, I think. But I told her this, that for me, I had to figure out why I didn't like moving. I mean, I know people don't like moving, you know, the whole packing, finding a moving company, loading the truck, or doing it yourself, which we did before as well.
One too many times.
Yeah. Loading it yourself and then driving, getting there, unpacking everything, having to return the truck, all this kind of stuff. So moving is one of the most stressful things you can do. It's actually been documented. But for me, I realized another reason why moving was so hard for me is because in my past, you know, specifically in my childhood, moving was associated with bad events. Like, oh, something happened, so we had to move. Or, you know, this happened with our family, so we had to move. So it was never anything positive. We never moved because something good was happening. So for me, I realize now that even in my adulthood, that it still had an effect on me. And I didn't realize it until after I got married. I was like, wow, this is why moving is so hard for me. So pack that on with, now we're in Athens. I don't know anyone there. You know, I had been with my church family for over 15 years, the church family that we were leaving to come to Athens.
Right.
So now I need to find a new church family. We were still getting used to, like Gabby said, to me it was almost like starting over again because we were doing the long distance thing to where, you know, every week she would leave and come home on Friday. We would spend the weekends together and then she would go back to Athens for school. So now it's like, okay, there's no more her back and forth. It's just us. So now all of our extra time together is just us. So that to me was a start over as well. So now we're getting used to being in the same space all the time, getting used to being moved in together.
Right.
And I will never forget, I told Gabby this the other day, it was so funny to me. When we first moved in together, we set up the dresser, you know, the dresser, your clothes, you put everything in there, whatever. And I put on like my cologne, my keys, wallet, all that on one side, and I left the other side for her. So, you know, a day or two went by and I realized she had not put anything on the dresser. So I asked her, I was like, why haven't you put your stuff out, you know, like on the dresser, use the dresser? And what was your response?
Why didn't I? Because it was your furniture. And that's how I saw it. I was like, that's his stuff. That's his furniture. What's your point?
So just to show that, you know, there were still challenges that we were working out. Because Gabby did not feel comfortable putting her stuff on the dresser. And I was just like, this is our dresser. Like, your stuff go on here, your clothes go in here, all that. And I was just like, wow. And I was kind of taken back because to me, it was really sending a message. It could be sending two messages. Was I possessive in a way that, you know, made you feel like you weren't comfortable to put your stuff on the dresser,
Mm-hmm.
or was it that you didn't feel close enough to me? It was just, it could send a lot of messages.
That's fair.
So I was taken back, like, okay, was she doesn't feel close to me, that she can use the same dresser as me, or what's really going on here?
No, it's my own pride, my own ego.
So
Because you offered, right? Like you said, yes, it's ours, and I was just like, no, that's his. That is not mine.
so yeah, some other challenges that came with moving in together after we got married was going to bed and waking up. Specifically, the waking up part.
Mm-hmm.
So, at the time, man, that's another story. But I'm kind of a morning person in that I get up early automatically. Like, I don't need an alarm clock. I just get up, and it's usually around 6, sometimes earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I would get up, start making us breakfast, this, that, the other. And this one is still in bed. And I'm just like, you're not going to help? I mean, am I going to make breakfast by myself every morning? In my mind, I'm like, I was doing this before I got married. I could use some help. But yeah, because, when you get married, I guess for me, I was thinking we would do more things together.
Mm-hmm.
But this girl loved her sleep.
I do.
But on top of that, in your defense, med school is hard. And I know she was tired a lot of the times. She had a lot of work to do, even after when she got home from med school or got home from work or whatever. So yeah, I realized we had to come to some kind of agreement.
I just don't understand why you have to wake me up. If you want to eat, go eat.
Oh my gosh.
Leave me alone. Just kidding. And Kareem is a big on devotion time with the Lord early in the morning. Everything is still. Like, I be talking to him while I'm taking a shower. It's fine. we have good open communication during the day when I'm awake.
Yeah, so, and that was funny. And then the other thing was, I feel as though there was something else about the waking up in the morning. Anyway, but the other thing I realized, that's what it was. Another reason why I liked getting up early was because, to me, I had more time during the day to get things done.
Okay.
So I'm up getting stuff done, and sometimes it's stuff that we need to do together, and I'm ready to go, and she's still in bed, and I'm just like, the frustration.
And moderation.
So it's like, so that was something we had to work out. So we had communication and had to talk about that as far as, hey, this is the reason why I like getting up early. I know you don't like getting up early, but when we have stuff to do together, blah, 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 let's use that time so that we get done early, then guess what? We can relax, hang out together, all that good stuff.
So, update. So, how's that going now? I feel like it's the same.
No,
it's
not.
You think so?
No, it's not nearly as bad at all. Yeah, I mean, now at least she gets up earlier than she used to. And I think part of it is just us growing together, truly. And our responsibilities have changed now.
Right.
Now we have to get up early because we have kids.
Yeah.
And the kids, they don't care what time you want to get up. They will get up. They're up by 7:30 on their own on days that we don't have to wake them up. So yeah, I think that's part of it. Definitely.
All right.
But yeah, we are going to, unless Madam has something
One
else.
last comment. As I'm reflecting on all the things that we just shared, it seems like we were in a rush to get married, probably because we wanted to do the do.
Oh, okay.
I had to get that joke out. I'm like, as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that's probably, maybe that's part of it, but from the outside looking in, you're like, why are they cramming a lot of things in?
Mm-hmm.
And probably because we wanted
But
to have the sex.
No, well, I'm not saying no, but the other thing was you were about to start med school. And it's like, are you trying
get
to
in.
plan? Are you trying to plan a wedding when you start med school? No.
Some people do.
So I was like, let's
get
do it
some
now.
Let's get some time together before
Yeah, let's get in before this med school get
things hit
here.
the fan.
Yeah. So that was my thinking, my frame of mind. So.
One of them. I got you.
Anyway, we want to thank you guys so much for joining us for this episode of Marriage Journey by K&G Culture,
Come on.
where we want you guys to create your own culture
Yes,
in your
sir.
household.
Uh-huh.
Remember, no two marriages are exactly alike, even though we do have some things in common.
For sure.
So yeah, I'm gonna say bye. We'll holler at you guys.